Okay, guys, welcome back to the Binge. Pat is back.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yes. My long-awaited return has finally happened. I was on Barstool America for 10 days. That show is going to be... You want to talk about reality television? Oh,
we made a reality show.
It was like everything. It was a reality TV fan's wet dream. Being on this show.
Maybe we should recap it. Oh my god, that would be so fun.
Well,
like as it's airing,
that's
what I mean.
We'll do a full recap.
Yes,
absolutely,
that would be so fun. I can't wait to watch it. So last night I got a notification. You know, I'm out to dinner with people. I'm just like checking my phone.
Just out to dinner. Just a Wednesday
with my TikTok friends.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I get a notification, like, you know, I always just look to see who's following me. And it's like RHONY, like RHONY castings started following you.
You get casted? Imagine
no,
if
so
you got
I'm
casted.
like, excuse me? So I look to be like, okay, is this legitimate? Like, are they actually messaging a bunch of people? So they're only following 721 people, myself being one of them.
How many followers do they have?
266. Oh. But they're following me. They're following Devin Simone.
Not that impressive.
But they just made this account, but they're following Devin Simone, who was the dating expert that's trying to set Sonia up, Ebony's friend. Remember Ebony calls her friend?
Yep.
And Devin's come on my podcast. So I'm like, they're following people in the...
Would you, if you got an opportunity to be cast on Real Housewives of New York, would you do it?
I always thought it wasn't a possibility because I'm not a housewife and I'm
you'd have to find a man.
Way younger. No, but then everyone was sliding into my DMs because I posted it as a joke, being like, "Who's gonna marry me? I'm gonna be a housewife."
A joke, but not really a joke.
And also, I got some DMs being like, "I'll marry you." This is the thing. Everyone was DMing me, and they made a good point. They're like, "Ebony's not married. Leah's not married. Like, you're fair game."
Are you old enough though?
I don't think so.
How old are you?
Like,
can we reveal your
I'm
age
30.
on this? Yeah, you're 30. That's too young.
Which I think is just on the cusp. Like, I think if I was like 33,
33,
34, they'd be a little more.
And loaded.
Yeah, but like I could pretend.
Yeah.
I have a nice apartment.
You play the part for sure.
No, so this is the thing. I never actually thought I would be on like a Housewives type of show.
Right.
I think I'd be more apt to go on it single because then I'm not dragging like my family into it.
Right.
Versus if I had like a family, I think I'd be more protective.
But family now is a part of the show. Like we work with a guy, Willie Colon, whose wife was like kind of in the process, being courted a little, friend of a cast member type deal. And they said to him, they're like, listen, if you're on this, like you're on the show. You're the husband, but the husband is just as big as...
I don't have anyone.
I know.
So but it's
me.
Good.
You can bring me. I'll be part of your crew. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like thunder outside, but basically what I'm saying is, I think I'd consider it more if it was just myself,
right? Versus
like if I had like kids and I wanted to protect them. Whatever. I'm not going on the Real Housewives of New York. Speaking of, it's been kind of a shitty season. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because it's like in COVID and it's boring.
I think that's exactly what it is. Like I was thinking about it last night. Even the election party, like even like the Hamptons house. It's like, what is happening? There's 5 people here. The entire point of Real Housewives of New York is it's real estate porn and it's city porn, right? You want to see how rich people are.
So
I want to see Sonia's townhouse. I want to see Luann's lavish party in the Hamptons. I don't want like the 6 of them like
in a small apartment,
right? Like shit face, like arguing over serious topics. Like yes, like there's a time and a place to talk about, you know, race and this and that, and it's important to do that. But like, let's get back to normal here. Like we gotta spice it up somehow, right?
I think every show that's been filmed in like COVID just isn't as good. And I hate to say it because I understand it's a business. Things need to keep moving. They need to provide us with entertainment. Jobs need to be happening. But every single show, like The Bachelor, The Housewives, every show minus like Love Island, which is like isolated to begin with, they're just not as good because they're not traveling. They're not doing lavish things.
And they're not around people, right? Like I feel like the one of the funny things about Housewives is the like juxtaposition between like regular people and like housewives who consider themselves regular people. So if you see this group of women out at a bar like acting wild and then they cut to like a family of 5 like eating chips and salsa, like that's funny.
Yeah.
But you don't have that built-in humor when you're isolated from people. But at the same time, like the conversations they're having this season are conversations that are like very real. Like
and
Ramona's getting and need to
be
had. Like who was when Ebony was talking about Ebony was upset with Luann. Who was the mediator between the two of them?
kind of like Sonia.
Which is what I thought was so weird.
Yeah.
Like Sonia, who's like now buddy with Ebony.
Yeah.
Because of this, I thought that was bizarre. So that is entertaining in a sense.
Yeah.
I just want the craziness, right? I just want drunk people hanging out, having a good time.
I just know, like, in a hypothetical world, if I got casted, like, I'd be friends with Ebony. She's, like, one out of all the people, whenever I watch shows,
right.
I'm sure you think like this, too. Like, you're watching, like, The Real World, whatever it is. You're like, who would I be friends with if I was, like, in this cast?
Yep.
I know for a fact it'd be her because she's the most normal. Like, they're all, like, Sonia has one drink and she's off the wall. Like, I'd have so much fun with her. But, like, actually be able to connect and, like, have conversation. I actually think Leah, even though she's off her rocker, but she's more, like, young and we'd be able to, like, have conversation. I think I would rip Ramona's head off.
I would be friends with Ramona.
I would rip her head off.
I would be the best friends with Ramona.
I know myself.
I love crazy. I love someone who's just off their rocker nuts. Like I'm drawn to that.
Yeah. But then I think you'd like Sonia.
I know. That's the thing too.
I like crazy too, but I don't like, to me, Ramona plays dumb.
Yeah.
Like she's
got it in her back pocket.
Yeah. Like she's not, and she's an intelligent woman, and you could tell she's always like, oh, I don't know. Like, and I think I would just call her out on her bullshit. I just know myself.
Well,
I'd hit my last straw.
It was
with
like
her.
when Ramona got called racist. So she posted like 30 photos in a row with all her black friends on Instagram, and everyone's like, "What are you doing posting this?"
See, that would drive me crazy.
But she plays dumb enough so that she can. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
She's my
smart.
point.
She's smart enough to know, right?
That's my point, though. I would. Put me in, coach, because I'm going to fight with Ramona. I want to talk about this new documentary that came out. I know you didn't watch it, but like we just need to talk about it.
Catch me up.
And we're not just going to talk about Real Housewives of New York today, guys, because it's kind of boring. Like I said, I want to just talk about a few things going on in the Bravo universe. So Hulu put out a documentary called The Housewife and the Hustler, and it is basically digging into Erika and her husband, Tom Girardi's criminal past. So to catch everyone up, they're being investigated because Tom Girardi is a high-profile lawyer who's was very successful, and the kind of law that he does is taking down like the bad guy and like having the little man's back.
Like big corporations. Like if there's a recall on like a Honda Odyssey and someone gets hurt, he's the guy who will go in and be like, "Fuck Honda, get me a big settlement."
Exactly. So they interviewed like a burn victim who was granted like a $20 million settlement, and basically Tom Girardi would communicate with him and be like, "You're too young. I'm going to invest your money for you."
Oh no. And
then just would never pay him the money. So he was stealing victims. Remember that aircraft that went like literally disappeared in Malaysia?
Flight 387 or whatever it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was defending some of the families. They got huge settlements. They've never seen the money.
So is he
It's so
is he alive? Is he in jail? What's his deal?
So then what happened was, there's so much. So he now is claiming that he has Alzheimer's. When a month
That's
prior,
some dirty shit. Claiming you have dementia.
Because he's old. And like this one guy in the interview was like, not for nothing, I saw him before COVID and like he was fine.
How old is he though? He's in his 80s.
80s. But the issue is him and Erika never had a prenup. And her name was on a lot of the business deals. And now it's kind of like the Teresa Giudice thing. It's like, did she know?
Right.
Or did she not know?
Was she complicit?
Yes. So it's so wild because the day after this documentary came out, Erika's lawyers dropped her. They said, we no longer want to represent her.
That's how you know it's bad, when a lawyer drops you. Andy Cohen put out a statement too. He said that it wasn't the healthiest place for her, the Housewives at that time, which is why she left. But I think...
Ooh, I have the chills.
Wait, the chills. I think there was a stink made. So how old is she?
I think she's like 40-something.
Okay, so she's 40-something. He's in his 80s. He's got millions and millions of dollars that he stole from...
Not anymore. Now he's claimed...
he's bankrupt.
Oh,
Jesus
Because what happened was... So this is what the victims were really upset about. Erika goes on the show and talks about how she pays $40,000 a month for her glam team. They have multiple private planes. They do all of these extravagant things. She's flaunting her wealth, and these people at home are sitting there being like, this man stole our money.
Right. It's a mini Bernie Madoff.
Yes. And it is just out of control. And like, part of me now is wondering, like, was she in on this? because
she had to have been, right? You can't lay your head on a pillow next to someone every single night and not know. It's the same thing with Bernie Madoff's wife. She said she didn't know anything about it. Yes, you did.
But
right?
just to play devil's advocate, if I'm married to you and you're making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and the money's coming in and I'm spending money, and you're like, don't worry, like I'm
You could
rich.
be distracted with your lifestyle.
Would I just be like, we got the money?
Right.
Am I necessarily being like, hey, how did this money enter our bank account if I know you to be this reputable man?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So I don't know.
And it's also when you have like money like that, life can be
out
like
of touch.
It's out of touch and distracting,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're loaded and you're like, oh, I'm going to go out on the boat today. Okay. Like while you're out on the boat, you're not thinking about where did this money come from?
That's what
or
I'm
while
saying.
You're getting a massage, where did this come from? It's like you're just blind to it and you almost don't want to know.
So part of me wonders if it's that, because I like to always give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because in my head, it's too hard for me to imagine people knowing the truth and choosing that option.
Right.
Like, to me, I'm like, you can't be that cruel.
Right.
But
I mean, I do believe that she didn't know all of it. I think she might have had a whiff. And what's the name of the documentary again, just so people can watch?
Housewives and the Hustler on Hulu.
Housewives and the Hustler on Hulu. I need to watch it because I love this kind of
No,
stuff.
you're going to die.
And also, like, if you're, like I said, she had to have known to a degree, right? It's just how complicit she is. And the real big scumbag in this entire thing is the husband, not just for stealing the money, but for then saying that he has dementia after a horrific disease that affects tons of people, using that as a crutch. Like, you almost have to respect it. Like, also, to be that much of a piece of shit.
So this is why everyone also thinks they're guilty. All of a sudden, Erika on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is talking about me and Tom. I love him. I love him. I love him. Boom. Next day, she texts everyone, hi, guys, I want you to hear it from me first. Tom and I are getting a divorce.
Really?
So basically, she's trying to disassociate from him so she's not pulled into his legal woes.
Right.
So now everyone's also saying,
it's premeditated.
You've been happily married for however many years, and now you guys are just getting a divorce, and now he just has dementia. So it's like, what's going on here? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see her in jail. Like, they put Teresa Giudice in jail for doing less of a crime. Right. I really think
tax evasion is much less than stealing, in my opinion, much less than stealing people's money. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think we could do a whole show on this, honestly.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Yeah. New True Crime Housewives podcast.
Right?
Between this, Jen Shaw.
Yeah.
Like, they're so... Okay, one last question, because we do need to wrap. You have something. Do you think Bravo is at fault for giving these criminals platforms, but then firing someone?
These criminals.
They are criminals. But then firing people that, like Stassi or Kristen, that make racist remarks, but then they're hiring people that are stealing from burn victims.
No, because I don't think they knew. Like, they didn't know she was a criminal before. And if you're cast...
No, but I'm saying for not firing them.
Oh, for not firing.
Like, Teresa Giudice is still employed.
No, I don't, because I think if you look at storylines strictly from a producer's standpoint, that's juicy.
That's
right?
what I think. They're just like, this is great.
And it's like Teresa Giudice, as much as you love her or hate her, it was a victimless crime. It's the IRS, right? What the fuck does the IRS need another $4 million for? Like, get Teresa in, and we'll go over it again. But I don't know. I mean, you got to fire the racist people, right? I guess it's
kind of just... Yeah, I'm not saying I agree or disagree. It's just an interesting question to pose, because they're both kind of moral conflicts. And it's like, why could you lay down the hammer on one and not the other?
Yeah.
And, like, exploit Jen Shaw's legal woes when she's also stealing from people.
Church.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think one, just based on the climate that we're in right now, one is excusable and one is not. If you have any sort of racist anything in your past, you're going to get called out on that, and you're going to get in trouble for that.
But devil's advocate, it's also unjust to steal from burn victims.
Facts. I agree. I definitely know. I agree with you. But as crazy as it is, that one is more forgivable to people right now.
I know.
Stealing from a burn victim is more forgivable than, saying something off collar 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but
it's just the way it is.
I guarantee, mark my words now, she will end up in jail.
I think so too. All right, we're going to end it on that this week. Next week, maybe we'll talk a little bit about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I want to dig into Kathy Hilton. We're just going to talk about all things Bravo moving forward, a little recap here and there, share our thoughts, because let's face it, there's a lot going on, and there's so many different facets I kind of want to touch.
Love it.
Love it. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.